I'm trying to use so I have a microphone right here that I'm trying, because I know in the past before spring break, a lot of people have said that the TV audio was drowning out my voice when I was on the PS4. So can anyone let me know? Is this better? Can you hear me clearer? But also, can you hear the game audio? Awesome. I'm getting a lot of yeses and a lot of it's better. Okay. Great. Well, then from now on, I will use this microphone. Speaking of, I don't know if the microphone is picking it up, but the dump truck is outside my house, probably for the next 5 minutes. So hopefully you guys are not hearing that, because it seems really loud to me in my living room. Yes, life is strange, and I feel like this game is appropriate for so many reasons. First of all, oh, somebody saw WoW yesterday. I was just testing, and that person you saw me testing with, that was Mark Chen. He wrote the book that you guys had to read for next week. So that was just a tech run to test it out. But as I was saying, life is strange right now. This class, of course, really isn't changing much because we've been online this whole time. But now all of your classes are online. So I don't know how y'all feel about that. I don't know if this is like a yay moment or a boo moment. But here we are in the middle of a pandemic. Never thought I would see this in my lifetime. But yeah, here we are. Unero, you miss living in Madison. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine a lot of people do. I kind of figured from some of the one-on-one videos that I did last week, it looks like a lot of people might have went home to live with their parents. I'm guessing on that because the background in some of the places looked really, really nice. Just way more, like, nicer than my place. So I'm just kind of like, wow. It's got to be a parent's house, right? Like, it looks like a parent's house, not a kid's house. Ryan, can I ask a question about diversity in games? Besides about some special people and identities, can the diversity expand into a larger field, such as person's life choice or other special personal actions? Wow, that's a really great question. I just got my coffee and you're like, no, wake up, think now, professor. Okay, the pass-fail, that's a very good question. I'm going to answer Ryan's question first. Please, if I forget, come back to the pass-fail. And then I promise I'm actually going to start playing at some point. Yeah, so... Okay, that is a loaded question, actually, right? Oh, speaking of, I'm gonna just start this game that was saved, and I will explain why I'm gonna do that in a little bit. I'm really not that far in, so all you know at this point is I attempted to save somebody from being killed in a bathroom. I'm a high school student. I'm taking a photography class. I'm really good at it, and I feel like I might have a crush on this girl.
Nathan Prescott is messed up.
So
and
that
dangerous.
is catching you up.
This day never ends.
Oh,
So,
and thanks,
yeah.
Chloe.
So back to Ryan's question.
After 5 years, you're still Max
What
Caulfield.
what do you mean by special people and identities? I mean, that right
Don't
there
give me the guilty
suggests
face.
that
At least
there
pretend
is
you're
a
glad to see
normal,
me.
right?
I am seriously
And up
glad to
until
see
very
you.
recently, what the normal has been
Thanks, Chloe. It makes perfect sense I'd see you
cisgendered white
today.
men.
Yes, it's been that kind of
That's
day.
the standard. That's the
So what did that
unmarked
freak want with
category.
you?
In anthropology, we would call it unmarked because that is a category that doesn't take an adjective. So, for example, you wouldn't say like people will say, oh, it's a female cop or a female chef, but people won't say male chef, right?
I have no idea. I know he's a Prescott.
And an asshole.
So,
I mean,
that's the first part of your question, right? Is, well, what do you mean by special?
I owe him big time.
Let me scroll back up
You're
here.
You're not the only one in debt. And you're already causing trouble.
And identities. Well, again, that
feels so weird to be back.
Is assuming that there is a normal. That there are some identities that are special as opposed to these normal ones over here. And that in itself is problematic because it takes one group of people.
I guess. It was cool, but I felt kind of lonely out of my league.
I would think you'd
puts
fit right
them up
in with
as
hipsters.
Normal.
Right.
Could a person's
like
life choice or other special
hipstergirl.com.
personal actions
At least you're still a smartass.
be
That's why I'm here.
Please,
used
girl.
to create more diversity in games? So, I mean, my gut reaction is to say yes, but I wonder what you mean by that. Like, what do you mean by life choice, right? I guess I could say something like, if you choose to have kids or not, that's a choice.
He was a pretty famous photographer in the 90s.
And do you see parents in video
Those that
games?
can't do, teach. I'm glad you found a good reason.
Not very often.
Don't you think I'm happy to see you?
Or other special personal
You were
actions.
happy to wait 5 years without a
yeah,
call or
so
even a
if you
text.
want to, again, going up for the special
Give me a break.
thing, right?
I was going through changes. Like you.
I guess
Like,
those
what do you
changes
mean by
include dumping you from your
special
life.
actions?
That's not true, Chloe.
Bullshit. You thought you hook up with all these art pricks in Seattle. Didn't happen though.
So yeah, so if you want to answer any of my
You've been at
questions,
Rockwell
I will
for
expand on
almost a
the
month
answer that I
without
just
letting
gave you, because I know it was a whole lot of I don't knows, although in general I would say yes, yes you can. You can put in anything as far as representation is concerned if you try.
Don't use them on me.
That would be my short answer. For the pass-fail conversation that's going on, I highly, highly recommend that you all email your advisors.
Wow, haven't heard that one in a while.
If you pass, you get credit. If you fail, you don't get credit. I know that for sure. I know that you can choose pass-fail
My step douche has a
after
boatload of tools.
we have
Maybe you can fix it in
submitted
my place.
I need
final
very
grades.
specific tiny tools.
Nerd alert. My stepdad has a fully
So,
stocked garage. And he
there's that.
actually is a tiny
If you choose pass-fail, it doesn't go
Welcome
into your
home, Max.
GPA. I know that for certain. Those are the only things I know for certain. As far as whether it counts for ComB, I read 2 announcements from the registrar, and one made it sound like no, and one made it sound like yes. So I am not going to venture an answer. Contact the registrar or contact your advisor. And I highly recommend you do that before you make a decision on this, because you don't want to accidentally,
the house still looks
Nice.
home
lose
shit.
credit for something that you needed. I think somebody at one point also asked how I felt about it. I think this is a good idea because we had such a major collective trauma in the middle of the semester that I think it is only fair to mitigate the damages from that as
My room
much
looks
as
a bit different than the
possible.
last time you saw it.
It's cool. At least we can chill out.
Somebody asked, how do you
This isn't
feel
exactly my
like
chill out
representation in
zone. My
games
step
or
fear makes
are
sure of that.
dependent on
Come in
the
and close the door.
option to create and customize
Put
your
on some
own
music while I
character?
medicate.
So how I feel about it is that is the literally the least you can do. If a game designer puts in a, we're talking representation anthropologists. If you want to come in and jump, you can be a guest for the day.
Nah, I'm just eating.
Okay.
Figured I'd join y'all for the conversation while I eat my soup.
So I totally just put my roommate on the spot because she is getting a PhD in anthropology.
When's the
so
last
I thought
time
maybe
I
she'd
had
want
to
to
dig
jump in.
through Chloe's crap?
Anyways, so why do I say it's the least I can do, or a game designer can do? Because people have been doing it forever. Like, that's not new, and people all of a sudden are like, "Ooh, let's check the height chart." Or like, "Oh, look,
Chloe
you
was
can be a
always
woman,
taller
or
than
you can be black, or
made
you
her
can
dad
be
keep track of
Asian,
her
or
height.
you can be a troll, or you can be skinny, or you can be fat." And it's like, yeah, okay, but where's the game where I get to save my prince at the end?
Chloe's dad built this dresser.
Where's the game where I don't have to
Chloe totally
play
changed
along
her
with
style.
the
I barely recognized
defenseless princess in the castle like Mario? You know, that's real representation is needs to go there.
Okay, Chloe, a metal box under the bed equals secret.
Just because you add diversity, the question was like obscured now. Was like if you make it more diverse, will it be more popular? The answer to that is maybe, but not necessarily.
Yeah. So what we have found in games is that there are so many other variables that it's really hard to say.
She does love
right?
trouble.
So, for example, I'll give you a couple examples. So, people have pointed to when people ask for more female protagonists, a lot of people have said, well, oh, they won't sell because dudes don't want to play a chick. But that's not true. Who can tell me why it's not true?
Storage space.
Can anyone tell me why we know why we know?
But I love how
okay, half all gamers are female. That is absolutely true and a good answer. But there's another one because we know that women will play male characters, right? But how do we know that men will play female protagonists? This is a real low flying plane for anyone who's been playing video games for the last 10 years. Jill Valentine. I don't actually know who that is. I was going to say Lara Croft, although perhaps I just aged myself and that's why. Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider series, has been out forever.
Too pretentious.
Yes, Tomb Raider. And guys had no problem whatsoever
Chloe
playing
does
it.
need a lot of money to get
Somebody
out of
else. What? So somebody had asked, what would you say is the difference between representation and the act of escapism in video games? I don't know how to answer that because that's like saying, what's the difference between the couch I'm sitting on and the coffee that I'm drinking? They are categorically two different things, like so completely two different things, that I think what I would do is I would show you a picture of the couch and then I would show you a picture of this coffee and say that is the difference. If you're thinking of something and maybe I'm not understanding your question, please let me know, ask again, and I will try to get that. All right, so for a moment though, I am going to stop looking at chat because I realized I got to a point in the game where I actually need to kind of figure out what's going on. Because before I was just going through dialogue, and not that dialogue's not important, but I was kind of phoning it in.
What does Max Caulfield do for fun now that she's a grown-up?
Yeah, someone in chat said
I don't feel grown up, just more confused as I get older.
Not just
especially
like,
after today.
Like
Gee, thanks. I was hoping to hear something positive.
About me?
No, about me. Duh. I thought you'd at least be happy taking photos.
Hold on 1 second.
Forget it.
Is my microphone picking up my roommate? Because she's actually answering one of your questions right now. I have it on my...
Oh, I thought it was...
I'm not going through there. Oh, they are picking you up. Go ahead.
Cool. I'm just gonna like step up. But not on camera because I'm eating and it's weird to watch people eat. So anyway. Okay, this is what we're doing. Cool. Why are you doing? You have to play the game. I will answer and you play the game. They can hear me. It's fine.
All right. This is what happens when you have two academics working from home in the same space.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true. Normally I have class at this time. So we just played a game on the Lunch Zone and Series Play called No Country for Straight People. And during that game, we had a really interesting discussion about what it means to have diversity all the way down, like even in the code.
Oh, this is a flashback to you.
Diverse
Our
people
super secret
will
closet
create
lair.
stories, not just in like you meet someone who is queer, or you meet someone who is a person of color, or you can play someone who's a person of color, or you're telling a story based on, like, say, non-white, straight, cis person. There's a lot to say about games that have it even built into the background of everything, that a game itself can be queer, for instance.
Hard to believe Chloe was my
another,
BFF just 5 years ago.
I know my room is a disaster, but you can find a disc.
Yeah, so that really actually follows up really well with I'm not actually sure if you were in the room when I said it, but that somebody asked about if you can customize your character, is that considered diversity? And I said it's literally the absolute least that you can do.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think somebody asked about the sisters, and somebody else said no BFF, and that would be correct.
Well, and like not every story needs that customization either, you know? Like
it's here, Max. Look a little harder.
I think that some stories are really great when you can customize stuff, like Mass Effect, for instance. Like that is so cool because you have so much choice in what you look like and what you do and the dialogue and all that. But like Life is Strange, for instance, would be a really different game if you were not this character, like this person. So, yeah.
So tell me, what does Max Caulfield do for fun now that she's a grown-up?
I'm going to say I don't feel grown up because I still don't, and I'm older than her.
Just more confused as I get older.
Yep, that sounds
Especially
right.
after today.
Gee, thanks. Right. I was hoping to hear something positive.
About me?
No, about me. Duh. I thought you'd at least be happy taking photos. Forget it.
All right, so I'm supposed to be looking for something in this room, and I don't know what it is. I missed it because I was reading chat.
Beep Rose Boop, how do you define customization? Because do players need choice? 100%. Do players need to be able to customize? No.
So let me follow up on that
give me
question.
that.
Do you mean
Sorry,
customization
I
in
wasn't
the
trying to be
idea of
nosy.
G's idea of
Obviously,
customization
she's
that we
a
covered
good
in
friend.
class?
Oh yeah, I haven't read
Putting
it.
it mildly.
Well, because we're also talking about character customization, which is different than what G was talking about.
Right, so I was reading it as character customization or customization of maybe
So,
look of the game
who
or
is
something.
she?
But if G
Do you
has
mind talking about
customization
her?
as a thing...
Rachel Amber.
Yeah.
She was my angel. After my dad died and you moved, I felt abandoned.
So character customization,
Rachel
I don't
saved
think
my
every
life.
game needs it. I don't think every
Man,
game...
I had no idea.
Well, you never made
Even
much
should
effort to
have
find
it.
out. I was 14. We were best friends.
I think it depends on the story you're trying to tell.
I never forgot. Even if I was an asshole and didn't keep in touch. But you had Rachel.
Rachel had my back. We were gonna kick the world's ass. You would laugh at how different we
Yeah,
were.
so someone brought up
She wanted to be a
Depression
star.
Quest, and
She
to
looks
follow
like a
up on the
model.
character
That was her plan.
customization idea.
Our plan. Get the
I
hell out of Bigfootville and into Los Angeles.
So I agree with everything Leia said, and that makes
So what
sense. We come
happened?
from the same academic
Did your
lineage.
Your mom try to stop you?
But
My mom was too busy hooked up with Sergeant
also,
Shithead.
we
I
talked
feel
about
the love.
empathy earlier in
Now,
the semester.
when did
I don't
Rachel
remember
actually
which day,
disappear?
but I feel like
6 months ago.
having characters that you
She just
can't
left
customize can
Arcadia.
sometimes be really
Without a
good.
word.
Like when you play
Without
Depression
me.
Quest, you're supposed to take on this idea of having depression. If you could customize it so you didn't have depression, you would.
What about her parents?
The whole point of the game would
Are
be
they
gone,
looking for
right?
her?
Max
in
Caulfield
denial.
is the only character I can
Max,
play.
I know
I'm
she's
playing
missing.
a female
I assume you know more
teenage.
than
I think she's a teenager.
Before Rachel left,
right? Like
she
18,
said she met
19?
somebody who changed her life.
17 something.
And poof,
Right. So I'm
And you haven't
playing
heard
a
anything
late
from her
teen
since?
lesbian.
like everybody in my life. My dad,
I
you,
need to be playing that character
Rachel,
to get what
gone.
this game is talking about.
Can you put on some music now?
All right. She wants music, so at least I know kind of what I'm looking
It won't
for
play
now.
without any power.
What? What? I need to plug in or something?
All right,
Oh,
y'all.
power
This has
strip.
been fun, but I've got a friend on Zoom downstairs. So,
Oh, say hi to whoever your friend is, and bye.
bye.
All right, our surprise guest is leaving. um, this was a fruitful conversation, and I think I missed something. Shame Lemon asked Sam Johnson, "How is more diversity imposing a limitation on
Anyway,
players?"
you can find
I'm
tools
really
to fix your
wondering
camera
what
in the
the comment
garage.
was that I missed.
Chloe,
Um,
are you okay?
Sure, I'm awesome. I just want to blaze and be alone for a moment.
okay, I see it now. Sam said, "Okay, so then should the developers limit players to allow for more diverse demographics?" Yeah, I'm real curious. Um,
I shouldn't bug Chloe now. Plus, I need those tools.
what tool?
Can you let me chillax for a bit? Alone? The tools are still downstairs.
Yeah, so somebody mentioned that, for example, women are more included in games now. They are more than they were, but still definitely a minority, right? And that's one of the reasons I chose this game. In addition to being a queer game, you also play a female lead. Uh, all right, so we're looking for some tools. We know they're somewhere downstairs. Not really sure where.
Nope. Someone locked it from the other side. Tools. Saucy Scholar, yes, there is. I haven't seen this place in 5 years. Seems like
this
forever.
research has been done. If somebody emails me a reminder, because I will forget because I'm playing right now, I can upload 2 studies um, that show that to
I should be able to
Canvas.
find the tools I
One
need
was
here.
done. One was done in the U.S. and the other I want to say was a UK study done in Europe.
These are way too big. I need tiny tools for that camera.
Let's go in the cupboard for tiny tools, maybe? I feel like this is the room, right? This action will have consequences. Should we switch it on?
What the? Chloe's stepdad actually installed cameras in the rooms?
Creepy.
For reals? This guy has serious trust issues. Do Chloe and Joyce even know about this?
I'm gonna wait a minute because I want to see if there's one in Chloe's room, which would make this even more creepier. I think not. We just cycled through and we saw the living room already. Yeah.
Boom, precision screwdrivers. Except I can't reach them. That was very smart, dumbass.
All
No
right.
can reach.
Thank you for the help on this. Tools.
Let's see. The tools are stuck, out of reach, and no way in hell to get them. Brilliant, Max. Brilliant. Man, I should have done that before they fell. Yes, here's some ancient cardboard. Let's see. The tools are stuck, out of reach, and no way in hell to get them. Brilliant, Max. Brilliant.
So there's reports going up in chat right now. I'm also going to link a few on Canvas later. I have seen reports of anywhere from 45 to 55% of gamers being women.
That does not look stable.
All right, how?
Yes, here's some ancient cardboard. Let's see. The tools are stuck, out of reach, and no way in hell to get them. Brilliant, Max. Brilliant.
No, I think maybe there's something over here. You wonder why so many game designers are men. So there are a lot of reports from both men and women coming out of the game industry about a lot of toxicity in it. In a lot of industries,
Chloe's
it's very
stepdad is head of
hard
security at Blackwell.
for
He wants to put surveillance
somebody
cameras.
who is not like
Chloe's
everybody
stepfather
else
is this asshole from Blackwell?
to break in.
You've got to be shitting me. One of these guns is missing. I hope Chloe's stepdad isn't packing heat.
Oh my God, why didn't I think of that? Rewind, obviously. That is so obvious. Okay, so I didn't rewind far enough. Oh my God, they're not gonna let me.
That does not look stable.
Huh. All right, you can just keep going. That seems like, yeah, it was not DBYC not working. Like, it wasn't letting me hold it down longer. Here. Okay, so
Yes, here's some ancient cardboard.
now I need to remember, did I want this out or in? I guessed right. Yeah.
Yes, you have mad skills, Max.
The puzzles in this game are
I've got the
sometimes
tools.
weird.
I should go back upstairs before Chloe freaks.
All right. The conversation has been great, and so I'm not sure that this was actually covered in the conversation since it's going a little fast for me. But somebody had mentioned or talked about most designers and developers being men. And in Nakamura's Cruel Optimism article, she talks about how some people say that if you diversify the people making games, that it will improve diversity and representation within games. Um, and but that has shown to not always be as helpful as one would think. Can anyone tell me why? Why is that not enough?
Whoa, dark. I cannot see anything.
I'm literally just being nosy now in the bathroom.
This is definitely Joyce's makeup. Chloe wouldn't use animal products. I wonder if Chloe is taking those
Yeah,
pills.
the bosses are often
I
still
hope she's
nice.
okay.
Yes. Cultural momentum also. Competence over diversity. Not sure what that means. Yeah, so I would agree. Diversifying the developers is a good first step, but it's not enough for all the reasons that have been being mentioned, right? The bosses are still largely men, and the bottom line becomes an issue because people still believe a lot of, oh, wrong bedroom. Um,
This must be Chloe's parents' room. Man, I am nosy today.
that bird just cracked the window. That was weird. And people still believe fallacies like, oh, people won't, play a female protagonist, right? Even though I'm doing it right now, and this game did fairly well. Um, Save the bird. Oh, yeah, I could save the bird, I bet. All right, now we have a bird in the house.
You found the tools. Sweet. You can sit at my desk and fix your camera.
Yeah, so adding a bit of diversity
So,
I can't
is
fix
fine.
this
I'm not
thing.
saying it's not great.
these
but
your
the
new photos?
cultural hurdles that
Yeah.
need to be overtaken
I just took them
are
today.
immense.
Let me see.
The fact of the matter is
are you
that
shitting me? That asshole's
um,
everywhere.
people
Wait, I've seen this.
heed
No way.
what white males say
When did
more
you take
than
this?
what
You
other
took
people
this
say.
photo, you brat? In the bathroom today. You set off the alarm. That's why Nathan raged after you. It totally makes sense. You hella
Even if
saved my
people
life.
are saying the same thing,
Now tell me
or
the truth,
equally
Max.
intelligent, or equally as talented, or whatever. So are we going to admit to her that we were there? I think yes. Let's not lie to her. I think
I
we
was
like
there,
her.
hiding in the corner.
Damn, you were a ninja.
A ninja would have cut Nathan's head off. I just took a butterfly photo.
That is so badass.
Oh yeah, I almost wet myself when I saw the gun.
So, did you recognize me?
Let's go. I'm not sure. Oh.
I wasn't sure.
I know I look a lot different.
I was scared too. I couldn't see straight.
I don't blame you, Max.
Like you said, it's been that kind of day.
So you must have
And
overheard
Honor
our
Waffle also makes a
conversation.
good point there. Having a feeling safe
Just
enough
a
to
bit.
express opinions.
There's no way you didn't hear every single vowel.
Okay.
Which, depending
I
on the
only heard
culture, may
something
or may
about
not
money,
be
drugs,
something
but
people
that's it.
feel like they can
Now
do.
for the big question. Did you tell anybody?
So I actually don't know if I did
Like
or not.
who? Like anybody. Stop stalling, sister.
The principal. But he didn't seem to
Oh,
believe
that's
me.
right.
The principal? Are you still 12? That drunk jackass only cares about cash for Blackwell Academy. Don't trust him.
I didn't mention you at all. Swear.
Thank God. I'll tell you more someday. And I seriously owe you, Max.
All right, so the player base of games is mainly male, which is actually not true. And while both genders can create interest for the other, generally I would think that male developers would create interest for male players.
know
In
it was
terms
your
of game
birthday last
development, a
month.
large part of it exists to gain sales. That is true, and based on this, they haven't really seen a need to diversify and increase the female population because their sales
This was
are
my
fine.
real father's camera.
But this probably overlooks
want you to have it.
diversification where
That's
you
so
could increase
cool you
female
remembered my
population and thus
birthday.
increase sales.
But
Yeah, I mean
I
that's
can't
fine.
take
So
this.
yes,
Of
you
course you
can
can.
target
My dad would be
only
pissed if I never used it.
male
and now I know
players
it'll be used
and make
awesomely.
enough money, and
And
that's
I'll
fine.
snag this
But
picture as a symbol of our
you could
reunion.
also diversify,
Yes, of
target
course it's
other
cool.
audiences, and
Thank
make
you.
even
This
more
camera
money
is
than
so
you're already
sweet.
making. So
Now that we
I
got that
mean,
mushy shit out of the way,
the
I feel
idea
like stage diving.
that
Let's thrash this place.
You're crazy.
which to me seems like a
I'm
very
fucking
capitalist
insane in the
argument,
brain.
right? Like, why
Let's
wouldn't
dance.
you do that?
Shake that bony white ass. Or take my picture with your new camera.
How should we go about diversifying the game industry? That's a great question, right?
This date couldn't get any stranger.
Do what we are doing. Also, look at what other industries have done. To try to see what has worked well, what has not worked well. Talk to actual players. Do research into player bases. There is research out there that the companies are ignoring. But
This would be a
also,
great shot of Chloe dancers.
but also work on the culture. That's actually not the one I wanted. I wanted. Nope. Oh shit. Eh, wrong button. Whoops. Yeah, I mean, so
breaking rules.
As some
Can't
people
dance,
have
Hippie?
already
Come
kind of
on.
mentioned,
Rock out,
playing
girl.
off of my
Yes,
comments
break it
on
down,
culture, this is not a problem that is specific to the video
Turn it
game
off, turn it
industry.
off.
This is a problem that is specific to
Dude, the music's not even on.
Western culture.
Asshole.
And even that's not true, right?
No
Because
fucking way.
other
You need to hide
cultures also
now.
have this
My
problem.
stepdad will
But the
kill
way
me
in
if
which
he
it
finds
plays
you
out in
here.
Western culture is distinct from the way in which it plays out in other
Chill, I'm
cultures, right?
changing. Is that okay?
So what we're talking right now, we are going to focus
Find a
on
place to
Western
hide
culture.
now.
Chloe,
I'm
what are
coming.
you doing?
It's not
you're
that
stalling.
different in
I'm
Eastern culture.
changing. Give me a
And
minute.
I wrote about gender in
get
video
smart.
games in
Just
Taiwan
let me
a
in
few years
now.
back.
1 second. My bra
But
is
it does
stuck.
play out differently, and the way it's being fought in the culture is very
Open
different
this door.
than what I've seen in the U.S., which is why I'm making that distinction there.
I'm giving you exactly 3 seconds to open the door. 1, 2.
So this is something I
3.
never did as a teenager because it's just worse, and you know
What's
they're
going
going to
on
get
in
in
here?
eventually.
Why is she here?
None of your business.
I don't like strangers here.
Stop freaking. She's not a stranger. This is my friend.
Great. Another one of your friends. I ordered you to never go through my files. You obviously have.
I didn't touch your files, David. I could care less about your files.
You care about starting shit, Chloe, and it's getting old. One of my guns is missing.
Is the game too loud when they're talking?
Did you take it?
Oh, God, I didn't take your stupid gun. You do know I believe in gun control?
Wait. Is that grass? You been toking up again in here?
Oh, yeah, guns, weed. You were tripping balls.
I'm sick of your disrespect. Tell me the truth. That's an order.
It's not my pot. It's from Max.
Let's try this. Oh, no, whoops.
Is this true?
I'm going to take the blame. That's what a friend would do, right?
Yeah. My pot.
So you're bringing drugs into my home. How about if I call the police? That'd screw up your spotless Blackwell record. You do seem to get around, Max. I'm sick of you losers dragging Chloe down. Oh, you're on a roll today. Between the fire alarm and now this. You don't have anything smart to say now, do you?
Get the hell away from her. I have proof you hassled Kate Marsh today.
What? What are you talking about?
I have surveillance proof. Now please leave us alone.
Okay, Chloe. You know everything. And Max, if I find you here again, it will be the last time.
Thanks for taking the heat. We totally smacked his punk ass down, Max.
So she
He's no
threw me
match
under
for
the
you and me
bus, but I
now.
kind of feel
That was an
like
epic win.
that guy might have beat her
Anyway,
if
let's
it had
sneak out
been
the
her
window.
pot.
There is one cool place we can hang in this hickhole.
Man, that did not go well for me. If I want to keep my Blackwell scholarship, I shouldn't lie for anybody, even Chloe. I have to think about my own future.
I would agree that in the past, companies didn't have any sort of incentive because they didn't know better. For a long time, it was really just accepted that what sold, what people wanted was all just based on what white men wanted, and nobody questioned that as being the norm and the standard. And it's only in recent times where that is being challenged, and now we have these ideas like, what about diversity coming up?
Isn't this awesome sauce? Totally reminds me of when we were kids. Come on, slowpoke.
Hold on.
I mean, if diversity is
haven't
baked
been here in
in,
forever.
then you won't lose
why do I feel
any
like
of the
it was
good
just
game
here?
design. When it's tagged on as an afterthought,
This is the exact same path I
then
was on
it
during
becomes
my
very
nightmare today.
distracting and bad for the game design. Right, so who has taken game design 1 with me probably
lucky.
recognize
They can
my
always
terminology they have
escape.
tacked on. That is my favorite way of saying when people throw stuff in like an afterthought.
Wowzer. Chloe drew that to mark our tree fort, so we'd always be able to find each other in case of emergency. How long has that been here? Looks like the youth of Arcadia Bay still come up here to party. I never made it. Too bad it's locked. I remember racing up and down the steps.
Where did...
Weird. Those glyphs remind me of the wind.
I hear some metal shaking, and I'm not sure where it is. I'm also not sure where Chloe went.
Those sure aren't big feet. What kind of animal left those prints? A tree haiku? How pretty.
There. Oh, yeah. So before class ends, I'm going to throw out one question. Even though I feel like a lot of people already got credit for class with that wonderful conversation that was going on. And what I want to ask about is, so this is going to take the conversation in a little different direction, but we've been talking a lot about industry and whatnot, which has been great, but what about in the player base, right? So Nakamura also talks about the idea that having more elite players will diversify. If players of color and women dominate and prove their worth, they will earn the right not to be harassed. Why is that argument bullshit? I'm going to just be blunt there. That argument, I mean, Nakamura pulls down that argument, right? That's not what she's saying. This is something that gamers say. It is bullshit. Tell me why it's bullshit. Can I repeat? Somebody accidentally closed Twitch. Some players claim that if more elite players were women of color or
Chloe
women and
Stepdouche
people of
better not
color, and if
cause
they
me
could
trouble.
dominate and prove their worth, they would earn the right to not be harassed. This argument is bullshit, and I want to know why it's bullshit. That was the question. So I want to. Not that.
Sure you don't want to be alone?
Have a seat, Pete.
You're in a good mood.
Seeing my step dork get played makes me happy.
I'm not as brave as you. And David is indeed a step douche.
I'm sorry you had to experience it firsthand.
You have to live with him. Has he always been this way?
Ever since my desperate mom dragged his ass to our home, I never trusted David.
I'm glad I took his photo. I felt weird taking his photo.
I'm glad I took his photo with Kate. Just in case.
Why was he all up in her shit?
He has some kind of weird agenda.
He has a lot of secret files. Rambo still thinks he's gathering enemy intelligence. Did you take a peek?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I couldn't help it.
Never change. What did you find?
Creepy photos of Kate Marsh. Other Blackwell students.
This dude takes his job too seriously. He still thinks he's at war or something. He's a total surveillance fetish. Or are there spy cams in the house?
I knew you didn't know. Chloe, your house is under surveillance.
What are you talking about?
There are cameras all over the house. I saw it on a monitor in the garage.
I knew it. He's so hella fucking paranoid. I'll keep this a secret for now.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss.
No wonder I'm so miserable. Everybody in this town knows everybody's secrets.
Do I want to know hers or Nathan's?
Even yours?
Not anymore.
So what do you have on Nathan?
He's an elite asshole who sells bad shit cut with laxative. And he dosed me with some drug in his room.
What?
I met him in some shithole bar that didn't card me. He was too rich for the place and too wasted, and he kept flashing bills.
Just tell me what happened, Chloe. Now.
I was an idiot. I thought he was so blazed it would be an easy score.
You needed money that bad?
Actually, yes. I owe big time. And I thought I'd have enough for me and Rachel if she showed up.
So in general, well, yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna just
How
focus
much
on
do
her
you
and not
owe?
Nathan right now. I
$3
feel like
plus
that is the
interest.
friendly thing to do.
And before I could get a
3
chunk of that from Nathan,
grand.
he dosed my drink with some shit.
Ugh,
God, Chloe. I can't believe this.
that's a lot of money.
I mean, I do.
Um,
Then what?
I know
I'm seeing a
passed
lot
out
of
on the
people
floor.
focusing on the idea of
woke up and that
the word
perv was
earn, that
smiling,
people shouldn't have to
crawling
earn the
towards me
right
with a
to
camera.
not be harassed, which is absolutely
Go on.
true.
Everything was a blur. I tried to kick him in the balls
Also, and
and
I'm not sure if somebody
Nathan
said that,
freaked,
but
so I managed
Nakamura
to
also
bum rush
talks
the
about the
door and
fact
get the
that
hell
like
out.
white men didn't have to prove themselves.
Maxim was insane.
And white men will then also be accepted
Chloe,
as
that
gamers,
is so
even if they
fucked
suck.
up. What did you do then?
Whereas
I figured I would
women
make
and
him pay me to
minorities
keep
don't.
quiet. So we met in the bathroom.
And he
Right,
brought
so the
a
idea
gun.
that you have to be
That was
good in order to be
Nathan's
accepted as
last
a
mistake.
gamer is also a diversity issue. I'm not going to call the police because that just seems like the wrong thing to
He's
do.
still dangerous, Chloe.
That's a
not
horrible
just to
thing for
you.
me to say, right?
Oh, good thing you notified the principal. I feel safer already.
I won't always be there to save you.
You were here today, Max. You saved me. I'm still tripping on that. Seeing you after all these years feels like
Destiny.
But unfortunately, in the real world, that is kind of how it is. A lot of women and minorities talk about having to be better than other people in the workplace in order to be accepted as equal, right?
If
So
this
if
is
the bar is
destiny,
set
I
for
hope we can
a
find
male
Rachel.
colleague, and if they're here, they're considered
miss him,
competent,
Max.
the woman needs to be here, the black man needs to be here in order to be considered competent.
This shit pit has taken away everyone
Nanimono,
I've
I
ever
agree. You
loved.
just have to be someone who loves
Like
games.
to drop a bomb on Arcadia Bay and
I
turn
agree
it
with
to
that.
fucking glass.
And I will call somebody who likes games and plays games a gamer.
Oh no! Not again! Why is this happening to me? Why am I here again?
Weird. So I'm trying to keep a better eye on time because I know I have often gone over in the past.
Is Chloe still up there? I have to find out.
She said she has to find out. Okay, this is...
Shit! I need to rewind and do something fast.
Alright, so if it looks like I'm kind of randomly walking, it's because honestly I can barely see. There is like sun streaking against my windows and dark.
I've never seen a storm like this in Oregon.
Can I just crawl over this thing? Yee. Ugh. So tart.
I wonder how we'll get around this.
That's an interesting story, Miss Asahe, because I actually had a very similar experience. Um, Although I had the benefit of then publishing on my WoW experiences. Uh, so I have like public proof that it was me and I was a chick.
I feel like the dough is eating me. Max, don't fuck around. Rewind.
So I don't know how to do this teleport thing. Where's the dough? Something about the dough. Where's the dough? Alright, I'm gonna just try closing this window
Feels like the end of the world.
and see if that helps. Alright, I still have some sunstreaks, but that did help a bit.
Come on, Max. You can make it.
No, yeah, look at how much easier this is when you can see.
Oh my lord! The tornado is back! October 11th? Is this Friday? That's only 4 days away. Oh no.
That is such
The
a
tornado
monstrous
is headed
tornado.
straight for the town. Chloe, you're here. I'm back. Oh my lord, this is real. It's real. Oh man, this sucks.
Max, what's going on? You totally blacked out.
I didn't black out.
The thing is, though, that women are not a
The town's
minority.
going to get wiped out by a tornado.
Oregon gets about 5
Famous
tornadoes
book.
every 20
We
years.
hold up
just
half the
so.
sky.
No,
And
I
it's
saw
true.
it. I could actually feel the electricity in the air.
Come on, take a breath, okay?
Chloe, I'm not crazy.
So
But there's something else I have to
maybe
tell
we
you.
should think about this as being
Something
disempowered.
Hardcore.
Talk to me, Max.
Because minority suggests
the
that
same
our
vision
numbers
earlier in
are fewer
class.
and therefore not
When I
important.
came out of it,
Not
I
that that is
discovered I
true.
could
Not
reverse
that
time.
just because
Like I
somebody's in a
said,
minority,
not
they're
crazy.
less important.
But
But when talking
right?
Listen
to
to me.
companies,
How do you think I
sometimes
saved you in
talking
the
money
bathroom?
words
We're
helps.
wasting time? Yeah, sure.
I saw you get shot, Chloe. Saw you actually die. I was able to go back and hit the fire alarm.
Okay, I see you're a geek now with a great imagination, but this isn't anime or a video game. People don't have those powers,
also
Max.
true.
I don't know what I have, but I have it.
People of color
And I'm
do not
scared
have the same
shitless.
concerns as
You need to get
LGBTQ
high.
plus,
It's been a
or
hell
as
insane
women,
fucking
or
day.
as even people of color lumps together groups that all have different
the hell is this?
experiences with
Snowflakes?
the
It's like
racism.
80 degrees. How?
Climate change. Or a storm
And
is
getting
coming.
played out because there are
Max,
different biases against different
Start
races.
from the beginning. Tell me everything.
answer the question about the reading next week. You were supposed to read the, I believe it was the introduction and the conclusion. It should say on the syllabus, doesn't it? That's syllabus for the wrong class. Oh. Wow, hey, I finished an episode. All right, well, we're close enough to the end of class. I'm not going to start up the next episode, so I'll just finish up here while the credits scroll, because really we only have 5 minutes. So yeah, XX, check the syllabus.